Hey guys, Terry here. So I think that I've mentioned before that I'm from West Virginia, and if you've been watching any kind of national news recently, you will know that we've had a really crazy water outage for like the past week or so. For those of you that don't know, basically what happened is this company called Freedom Industries that was working with a chemical that is used to process coal had a leak in their building that was used to store the chemical that's been around since like the 30s. And then that building had a leak that then ran off to our water supply, which was just a mile and a half away in a building that was built in the 40s. And then it basically just contaminated our entire water supply for like 9 counties or something crazy. Like a lot of people have been without water for a while now. That's right, a chemical company in West Virginia literally did what we've been jokingly referencing Batman villains will be doing for years. I gotta say, now that I've not been able to drink, wash, or cook with water for the past week or so, I take those threats from those villains a lot more seriously now. Which leads me to today's vlog topic. I know that this sounds like a terrible place to live because we have to be surrounded by chemical companies and coal companies day in and day out, but there are some really great parts about West Virginia. So I thought that it might be kind of fun for this vlog to be a pros and cons list of living in West Virginia. Basically, I'll give you a good reason to live and a bad reason to live here, and then just kind of go back and forth for a little while. Pro number one, West Virginia is beautiful. There are mountains everywhere and trees, and it's one of the few places that you really feel like you're surrounded by nature. Whenever I hear the song lyric, "Oh Beautiful for Spacious Skies from America the Beautiful," I kind of think they were talking about West Virginia. Con number one, the fact that the coal companies seem to control everything. I know that I might get a little bit of flack for saying this, but I know that I might get some flack for saying this, but honestly, I don't love that the coal companies control literally everything. I know that I may get a little bit of flack for saying this, but I don't love that the coal companies run our economy and our property laws and our environmental protection laws and our safety regulations. And it seems like as hard as we try, there's not a lot that the liberals can do to get any momentum in the environmental legislation front. Pro number two, the art scene. It's actually surprising that Charleston, West Virginia has a really vibrant art scene. There's actually a lot of really great artists in West Virginia. I actually put some links in the description down below for some of the most amazing ones that I know, but it seems like there's always something going on that's either, like a theater production or an art show or some sort of musical event. Like, West Virginia is really vibrant whenever it comes to the arts, and we just have a really great concentration per capita of talent. Con number two, the job market. Basically, this goes back a lot to the previous coal company con. Basically, what it boils down to is that a lot of the coal company jobs don't really require a lot of education, but they pay really well. And rightfully so, because these guys are thrown into danger and they are working for a paycheck so the family can survive, and that's great. And I'm not going to criticize them for that because I totally understand why they're doing it. It's easier to go ahead and get a job and just stick with it than it is to, go to school and try to figure out a career path. And trust me, it's really, really hard to try to figure out what you really want to do with your life if you're not going to take something that pays the best. But because these jobs really require not a lot more than a high school degree, then the really high paying jobs are some of the least educated people, and then the lower paying jobs are things that people that are educated can get because there's not a lot of jobs for highly educated people in West Virginia. And that's really not necessarily the coal industry's fault, but it is the fault of other companies for not seeking West Virginia, because we have a pool of unemployed educated people that'd be great for a number of jobs. So if you're listening, big companies that need educated individuals, look to West Virginia. We're your place. But in the meantime, it's a con for living here, because there's not a lot of job opportunity for people that are educated in West Virginia. It's just a fact. Pro number three, the people. The South has this reputation of people being really nice and friendly and smiling and offering you Southern style tea or lemonade on the front porch and greeting you and saying hello every morning. And it turns out a lot of that is actually true when it comes to West Virginia. It's hard to not go to this store and run into at least 2 or 3 people that you know and have a conversation with them because people are just so friendly and just want to talk to each other. And then whenever something like this recent water crisis happens, it seems like everybody sweeps in to help one another. And I do understand that FEMA came in. We had a lot of help from other national outlets such as the Red Cross. But even before any of that happened, there were people bringing bottles and bottles of water to my house from like local churches, and the fire department did stuff, and a lot of community organizing organizations ordered water and things like that. And it's really amazing that West Virginia is willing to come together whenever something like this happens. We understand that we can't get through this alone, and we need to help one another. And I know that's not exclusive to West Virginia, because you hear about that sort of thing happening in New York whenever tragedy strikes and things like that. But I think that it's something special whenever there are communities that do that, and West Virginia is one of those places where that happens. Con number 3, the political climate. It's actually really weird whenever you think about what the political climate is like in West Virginia. There's a lot of liberals like me that I hang out with, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. And there's a lot of conservatives that are really hardcore conservative, and although I don't necessarily love that they're here, I understand their position, and it's fine. But then on top of that, there's a lot of people that are registered Democrat, but go to church and have really conservative social values, but then have really liberal economic values. And it's just confusing to me because there's not really a party for that, and that's just who they are. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just essentially saying that it's confusing and frustrating because these people typically vote Democrat, which I'm fine with, but then they only will vote Republican if they're then motivated by their religious right to do things that are against their own self-interest. Because ultimately, what's more important to them in their day-to-day lives are the economic issues, but then they seem to care more about the social issues because of their religious ties, which ultimately just affects people that aren't them at all. So basically this is a con, because I'm saying that it's just frustrating to live around people that are so willing to vote against their own self-interest in order to upset the lives of others. Okay, that is all I'm going to do for now, because this could go on for a while if I keep going. But as of right now, it stands even, and I'm okay with leaving it that way, because that's kind of how I feel about West Virginia. I think that it's not a bad place to live, but it's also not a great place to live. It's a place to live, and you can survive here, and you can be relatively happy, and that's okay with me. At least for now. I'm probably going to move one day. But I would love to hear in the comments if you guys have any reasons why you love or hate, or both, living in West Virginia. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, you should like it. And if you'd like to see me talk about more random things like this, you should click on the subscribe button, because I post videos every week. Every Wednesday, there's a new video here. Last Wednesday, I talked about the rumors surrounding the new Wonder Woman character in the Batman Superman movie. If you'd like to hear more about that, click in the corner over here, and you can watch it and enjoy it, and it'll be great. But that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Movie. So sure we all know that Gal Gadot was cast as Wonder Woman recently, about a month ago, in the upcoming Batman Superman movie. And that's all well and good. I mean, I think that she's going to work out for the part.